You know, when we think about self-driving cars, it's so easy to picture some far-off sci-fi future. But what if that future isn't just on the horizon? What if it's already here, starting to unfold right now? Let's get into it, because this isn't about some fantasy technology, it's about a fundamental shift in our world that's already in motion.
And it all really starts with something like this, a personal story. This quote comes from a 70-year-old driver who's been behind the wheel for 50 years, watching cars evolve. For him, the latest driving assistance wasn't just some cool new gadget, it was literally a key that unlocked a whole new chapter of his life.
And that's the critical point, right? His experience isn't some isolated case. It's like the first ripple in a pond, a ripple that's about to grow into a wave of change that will transform not just how we get around, but the very fabric of our society.
So let's start right there with that idea of newfound freedom. Because before we dive into the massive global statistics and all that, we really need to get a feel for the deeply personal impact this tech is having on people today. Okay, so let's get specific, because this is where it gets really amazing. That driver I just mentioned, he used to find a 300-kilometer trip, what's that, like 180 miles, to be completely exhausting. But now, with his new car handling over 90% of the steering, the gas, the brake, a 1,000-kilometer journey becomes comfortable. I mean, that's not just a tiny improvement, that is a life-changing expansion of his world. That personal freedom, that's a huge deal. But now let's shift gears and look at how this exact same technology is poised to solve one of the largest yet most overlooked crises of our time. It's a crisis that, honestly, we've all just kind of gotten used to. Just look at this number. Over 1 million. That is how many people die in traffic accidents around the world every single year. It's this silent catastrophe that we've somehow just accepted as a part of life.
And this chart really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? When you compare that number to recent deaths from wars around the globe, which is around 200,000 a year, the picture is terrifyingly clear. We are living through a war on our roads that is 5 times deadlier than many of the actual wars we see on the news.
But here's the incredible part. This is a war we can actually win. The technology that exists right now can slash accidents down to just 1/10 of what they are today. That means we have the potential to save hundreds of thousands of lives. Not in the future, right now.
So you hear that, and you think, okay, if the safety benefits are that massive, this switch should be a total no-brainer, right? And yeah, it should be. But the real force pushing this change forward isn't just logic or safety stats. It's something much deeper, much more human.
Which brings up this question. Because while saving lives is the ultimate incredible outcome, the real reason this evolution is happening so fast is because of a simple human truth. We consistently, almost predictably, will always choose the easier path. And we have seen this play out time and time again, right? There was a time when most cars had 3 pedals. You had to learn the clutch, you had to learn to shift. It was a skill. But then the automatic transmission came along. It was just easier. And what happened? Almost everyone chose easier.
The same thing happened with computers. We went from typing these complex commands into a black screen to just pointing a mouse and clicking on a picture. Yeah, you could argue the old way was more powerful, but it didn't matter. We chose simpler.
And that, right there, brings us to today. Autonomous driving is simply the next logical step in this long, long history. It is absolutely safer, yes. But the killer feature? It's easier. It removes the stress, the boredom, the mental load of driving. And as history has shown us again and again, when we're given that choice, we almost always take it.
So if we accept that this change is inevitable, that it's being pushed by both safety and our own human nature, what does the world actually look like on the other side? Because we're not just talking about better cars, we're talking about reimagining our entire world.
Well, first off, the entire idea of driving is going to change. It'll become a hobby, a sport, something you do for fun, like horseback riding. People will go to special tracks, to circuits, to get that thrill, but it won't be how we get around every day. And then think about what this does to our cities. I mean, really think about it. Who needs traffic lights when every car on the road is talking to each other perfectly? What happens to all those gigantic parking lots? Your car can just drop you off and then go park itself miles away. Or better yet, go pick someone else up. We might not even need to own cars at all. Which all leads to this kind of startling but totally logical conclusion. In a world where machines are proven to be so much safer, allowing a human to operate a 2-ton steel box on a public street, well, it's just going to be seen as an unacceptable risk. It will almost certainly be banned.
And that leaves us with one last, pretty profound question to chew on. When this future gets here, and it will, how are the people living in it going to look back on us, right now, in this moment?
They'll probably learn something like this in a history class. They'll look back at our time, at the world we live in today, as an era of strange and completely unnecessary danger. A time when we accepted a level of risk that to them would seem absolutely insane. And that is the world autonomous driving is steering us toward.